Hey there, welcome to The Motivated Founder. Today we're diving into the fascinating psychology behind negotiation, based on the revolutionary approach of Chris Voss in his book, Never Split the Difference. As entrepreneurs, we negotiate constantly with investors, employees, customers, and even ourselves. But most of us are doing it all wrong. Forget everything you've learned about win-win and finding middle ground. Voss's FBI hostage negotiation techniques reveal how understanding human psychology is the real key to getting what you want. Let's explore how these powerful psychological principles can transform your negotiation outcomes. Traditional negotiation advice assumes people make rational decisions, but Voss's experience as the FBI's lead international hostage negotiator taught him otherwise. Here's the reality. Our brains process emotions before logic. The amygdala, your brain's emotional center, activates during negotiations, often triggering fight-or-flight responses and defensive reactions. Research shows that people whose emotional brain centers are damaged cannot make decisions, even when their logical thinking remains intact. This reveals a profound truth. Emotions drive decisions, not logic. This is why Voss's approach works so powerfully. It speaks directly to the emotional brain, bypassing the resistance you typically encounter with logical arguments. The cornerstone of Voss's method is something he calls tactical empathy. Unlike regular empathy, this isn't about being nice. It's a strategic tool for understanding and influencing others. Tactical empathy is about deeply understanding someone's perspective without necessarily agreeing with it. When you demonstrate genuine understanding, something fascinating happens in the brain. The defensive mechanisms decrease, making them more open to your influence. This creates what psychologists call neural resonance, where your brains literally begin to synchronize, building connection and trust. Here's how to implement tactical empathy in your negotiations. 1. Focus completely on understanding their position. 2. Actively listen for emotional cues. 3. Validate their perspective before presenting your own. 4. Show genuine curiosity about their situation. Remember, your goal isn't to feel what they feel, but to understand their emotional reality so well that you can navigate it effectively. The next technique is deceptively simple but neurologically powerful: mirroring. This involves repeating the last few critical words your counterpart has said. For example, them. We can't possibly meet that deadline. You, meet that deadline? Them. Well, not unless we get additional resources. See what happened? By simply repeating their words with an upward inflection, you've prompted them to elaborate without applying pressure. This works because humans have specialized mirror neurons that create connection when we repeat others' behaviors. Studies by psychologist Richard Wiseman found mirroring can increase likability by up to 70%. The psychological impact is profound. Mirroring creates unconscious rapport, encourages elaboration, and gives you valuable time to formulate your response. Labeling is the practice of putting someone's emotions into words. This creates what psychologists call affect labeling, naming emotions to reduce their intensity. When emotions are labeled, brain scans show that the ventrolateral prefrontal cortex activates while activity in the emotional centers decreases. This literally helps calm the emotional brain. To implement labeling, use phrases like, "It seems like you're frustrated with," or "It sounds like you're concerned about," and "You look like you're worried that." Notice these start with "it seems," /sounds, /looks, rather than "I think you feel." This makes the observation less confrontational and more effective. The beauty of labeling is that it works on both positive and negative emotions, allowing you to acknowledge concerns or highlight enthusiasm as needed. One of Voss's most counterintuitive techniques is the accusation audit. Proactively listing all the negative things your counterpart might think before they can voice them. For example, before a difficult conversation with an investor, you might start with, "You might think I'm unprepared. You might feel I've wasted your time. You might believe I'm asking for too much money without sufficient traction." This technique performs psychological magic. When you voice potential negatives, you disarm defensive reactions, you create surprise by acknowledging concerns before they're raised, and you often prompt the other person to defend you against your own accusations. This works because our brains expect opposition in negotiations. When you instead demonstrate understanding of potential criticisms, it creates cognitive dissonance that often resolves in your favor. Calibrated questions are specifically designed to give your counterpart the illusion of control while actually guiding the conversation where you want it to go. These are open-ended questions that start with how or what, never why, which can trigger defensiveness. For example, instead of saying that price is too high, you might ask, how am I supposed to explain that price to my board? This shifts problem-solving responsibility to them without creating confrontation. Other powerful examples include, what factors are we not considering? How would you like me to proceed? How can we solve this problem? These questions engage the problem-solving centers of the brain rather than triggering defensive responses, and they allow your counterpart to feel ownership of any solutions they propose. Contrary to conventional negotiation wisdom that seeks quick agreement, Voss sees tremendous value in number. When someone says no, they feel safe and in control. Psychologically, saying no reduces amygdala activation and provides a foundation for more authentic negotiation. Try reframing your questions to make no a comfortable answer. Instead of "do you have a few minutes to talk?" try "is now a bad time to talk?" The first approach creates pressure to say yes, while the second makes no the path of least resistance and paradoxically makes a positive response more likely. Remember, no is not rejection. It's protection. It's the start of a negotiation, not the end. These psychological techniques from Never Split the Difference aren't just for hostage negotiators. They can transform your everyday interactions as an entrepreneur. By understanding the emotional underpinnings of decision-making and using tactical empathy, mirroring, labeling, accusation audits, calibrated questions, and embracing no, you'll negotiate more effectively in any situation. Remember, the goal isn't to split the difference with compromise, but to truly understand the other person's perspective so well that you can guide them toward a solution that works for you both. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button for more psychological insights to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. This is The Motivated Founder, and I'll see you in the next video.